Hi, how are you? Okay, FedEx truck. They wanted to say hi. Today I thought that we would do something a little different, and I wanted to share with you guys the how and why of Dead Dad's Kitchen. You know, I've been putting these videos out for almost 2 years now. Oh wait, actually, hold on. Let's do a little checky loo. Wow, okay. I put my first video out on Father's Day in June of 2019. However, me and AJ recorded that video for the first time, like the first ever Spaghetti and Meatballs episode on March 8th. So it's been 2 years since Dead Dad's Kitchen was born. And I know that in that first episode, I dive into a little bit of like what Dead Dad's Kitchen is gonna be. I know that I say it's sort of like a love letter to my dad and like a little bit of a roast to like make his recipes better. But I don't think I've ever like really told this story. So I want to share it with you today. I guess we'll start at the beginning and we'll end at the end. And here's how it goes. Growing up, I had my mom, Amy, and my dad, Frank. They had my older brother, Eddie, and then they had me 4 years later. And my mom was actually like the breadwinner of the household, and my dad was a stay-at-home dad because my dad was an actor. And for anybody who is in or familiar with the entertainment industry, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're working. It just means that that is your craft and you love it. And unfortunately, although my dad was incredibly talented and so funny and the life of any room that he walked into, he never got his like big acting break. So it was a bit of a blessing and a curse because, you know, unfortunately he never got to like fulfill his like ultimate dream, which is so sad. But he did get to stay home with my brother and I like all throughout our lives growing up. My mom would drop us off in the morning at school. Then my dad would either pick us up or we would walk home from school, whatever. We spent a lot of time with my dad, especially in the summers. We would be with him pretty much all day. And then my mom would come home and we'd all get to be together. And like I've mentioned before, we would have our family dinners every night at 6 p.m. with no exception. Well, that's not true. There were exceptions. Like, you know, if I went to my friend's house or something and I was gonna have a sleepover there, I wasn't gonna be home for dinner. If I had a play or was going to a football game, I wasn't gonna be home for dinner. So it wasn't super strict, but I would say if there were 100 family dinners, I was at 90 of them. There were obviously more than that, but just as a percentage. My mom and dad were still together, which was huge for me and I love, and my dad cooked dinner basically every night. On the weekends, my mom would cook because she really likes to cook. But pretty much every night of the week, my dad would be cooking something. He learned how to cook from his mom. They're this New York, Italian-American, Irish-American family. Food's super important. And, you know, it was like New York in the 50s and 60s, so they weren't like swimming in cash. So my dad just kind of like learned how to cook to help his mom, and that got passed down to our family, and so he would cook for our family. And like I've told you before, it was a lot of pasta, roasted chicken, sausage and peppers, spaghetti and meat sauce, spaghetti and meatballs, lasagna, pasta aglio olio. Sometimes we'd have steak. That was a big thing. My dad used to measure how much something was, like on how many steaks it would cost. So I'd be like, Dad, I want this new dress. It's, you know, $60. He'd be like, that's 4 steaks. You think we're just gonna let you wear 4 steaks? You had to be there. You can't be, but you should have been. I remember always being so intrigued with my dad cooking. Like even if it was him like making breakfast in our old house that we lived in, I would just like love to watch him make it. So then it was never an introduction to cooking in like a way that was, okay, Rini, you're 7 years old now, I'm gonna teach you how to cook. It was just like, as I got older and old enough to, you know, wash lettuce and make a salad or prepare some vegetables or whatever, I just did it. It was more of like a chore, honestly, but I loved doing it. So like I would get to help with dinner and I loved it. My dad always had dinner on the table for when my mom got home. And I think that is just really sweet and beautiful, and my mom always really appreciated it. To me, growing up with that, that's kind of how I saw like, oh, that's how you show people love, is like you make them food. And my house was always open to my friends. Like I mean, not to brag. I had like a little bit of like the hub house. Like, you know, my friends would all come over and we'd have snacks and hang out and go on walks and whatever. My dad always said that my friends were welcome to come to dinner, whatever, and always we had a wonderful time. So like Christy would come to family dinner, and then Christy and two of my other girlfriends would be there, and it'd be a big thing. And it was just sort of like slowly getting ingrained in me. This is how you show people that you love them. This is how you welcome people into a home. You offer them dinner, you offer them something to drink, So I've just grown up with that my whole life. And this never stopped ever since. Literally, like, some of my first memories are not being able to leave the kitchen table because I didn't like finish my salad, but I had all of my chicken and mashed potatoes. And so like the lights would be like off in the kitchen, and I would like be at the table waiting because I didn't want to finish it, but I would. And that was like, that wasn't always family dinner, but that was a repercussion of my early on picky eating habits, which are gone now. I remember having family dinner, getting to share family dinner with my mom, my brother, and my dad. We got all of these beautiful memories around the kitchen table, and I was sort of like by osmosis, like getting these recipes imprinted into me because I don't think I ever saw him have a written. That's not true. He had some of his mom's handwritten recipes, but he never looked at them. Like we had them for like sentimental purposes. I don't think I ever saw my dad look at a recipe. And so that just sort of, you know, found its way into me. And I just sort of remembered all of the stuff that he made. Then when my dad died when I was 17, he wasn't 17. Then when my dad died when I was 17, which I'm not gonna like go into the whole story of it, but basically, my dad was 57. He was young and he was very healthy, and like a weird, very sudden thing happened. And it wasn't an accident or anything. It was just like a medical anomaly sort of vibe. He passed away so suddenly. So like it was in the span of like a day, basically. And so all of a sudden, we're without a dad. My mom's without a husband. All of this stuff. You know it, you know it, you know it. And again, I saw so much love being passed around in such a dark time through food. People brought food over. I told you that my brother's girlfriend at the time brought a bunch of food over. My dad's friends would bring food over. We would have a lot of people coming in and out of the house. We'd always have food. People sent the edible arrangements. I don't know if you're familiar. If you are feeling a little uneasy and don't want to hear about all this death stuff, that's fine. But if you do want to hear about what to do when someone dies, you can check that video out. So yeah, so I'm seeing all of this love be passed around through food. Somebody handing us, you know, a plate of sandwiches, basically saying, we love you, we're here for you, please eat something. And so I was seeing that, and I was just like, wow, that's amazing that like I've grown up always knowing that food is this amazing way to bring people together, to show people you love them, and to say things that might be kind of hard to say sometimes. So once the super horrible first year, I'd say the first calendar year without somebody is usually the hardest in my experience, because you have to do birthdays without them, you have to do your first holiday season without them, you have to do their first birthday. You get it. Hopefully you don't get it, but if you get it, you get it. If you know, you know. I hope this video isn't like so all over the place. I'm sorry if it is. I give myself time to heal. I don't think anybody is ever fully healed when they lose somebody that they love, but I give myself time to get back to like life, to like become a person again, keep going to school, graduate. Got my first job after my dad died, which is in food service. I think all of my jobs have been in food service, except one. Like, I got my first job in food service and I loved it. I loved working with people and feeding people and getting people coffee. I really loved waiting tables. I loved being somebody who could bring food to somebody. It's always been my favorite thing to do. And like, when I've worked at other places, I always knew that you could make somebody's day by giving them a free waffle or a free cookie or a free coffee. And the amount of joy, that somebody feels when you give them food that they weren't expecting to get, or were expecting to get. Sometimes I'd bring like exactly what the person ordered to their table and they were like, yes! And I was like, yes, dude, I feel that. Busy day on the street today, huh? Just when I'm trying to get emotional. Anyway, I'm working in food service. I'm loving it. And my whole life up until I was about like 15, 16, I wanted to be an actor. Just like my dad. My mom was also a dancer growing up, so the arts were like very big in our household. I really wanted to be an actor. I was in all the school plays, I was in all the school musicals, I was in all the school comedy sketches, and I really wanted to do it. I really wanted to do it. And then when I was like 15, 16, I started watching more like Food Network, and my mom and I would watch a lot of the like Saturday morning cooking shows. I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like getting to like be yourself and talk about food, but still get lots of attention sounds fantastic. So it was around that time that I started knowing that like my goal was to be in food entertainment. Always had that in the back of my mind. Anytime somebody said, what do you want to be when you get older? I'd say I want to host a food and travel show. It's been my dream and my passion for about 10 years. It was sort of one of those things where I was kind of not doing anything about it. And I was telling myself that I was. I started my little like Instagram thing where I was making like cakes that had funny things on them or cookies that said silly things. And I was like, this is it. This is getting closer. It felt good, but I knew something was missing. I knew that I wanted to be doing more. And I've always thought about doing YouTube, but I never had like I always thought it'd be fun, but I didn't know where to start or how to, push things forward and things like that. And then I got a job as an assistant for another creator. Her name is Megan Batoon. She's amazing. I worked with her for like a year and a half or so and had the most incredible time. She taught me so much. She was my mentor before I even realized she was my mentor. She was amazing. She taught me a ton, and through her, I met one of my best friends in the world, Gabby. And Gabby has created an incredible career for herself on YouTube, and she was sort of the impetus for being like, Mama, you have this dream. You have something you can start it on. Like, why are you not doing it? And it was one of those things where I was like, oh my God, why am I not doing it? It was sort of upsetting because I was like, oh, I've wasted so much time, but then I was like, at least I'm starting. So I was sort of just like kicking around with ideas and things that I'd want to do. And I've known for 10 years that I've wanted to do a cooking show. I've known for all this time that I've wanted to have a food and travel and culture show. So I was like, okay, we're gonna do it. What's it gonna be named? What's it gonna be named? And I knew that so much of my cooking inspiration, is coming from my dad, my daddy. And I miss him all the time. And so I wanted it to be kind of honoring him and telling him I love him, but also I wanted you to get the idea of what it is right off the bat. I wanted you to know that there would be a little bit of dark humor in there, that it would be food related, that, the inspiration of it is coming from my dad, who unfortunately passed away. And I just feel like the best way to kind of get that out of the way is to just say it right out the bat. And so that's how the name came about. I just thought it was kind of funny. The idea got created just from a whole lifetime of loving food and loving what food can do for people. Nothing has made me happier. I have so much joy and love for this thing that I created with the help of a lot of other people. AJ, Juliet, Avery, Sam, Gabby, every single guest who's ever come on, all my best friends who support me, my family who supports me and loves me and likes the idea and thinks that the name is not absolutely horrible, so thank goodness for that. And I just thought that it was this really nice way to package up this idea that I've had inside of me my whole life, which is food means love. Be it giving them a recipe to make food or giving them the actual food that you're making, but especially getting to make it with people. That's why I love having people on that show so much. All of these people that have given me the chance to share food with them, to share love with them, to let me tell them I love them. And hopefully that sort of like inspires them to do that for somebody that they love. And if this works perfectly, then everybody's cooking for everybody. I also wanted it to like be an approachable way for people to start cooking. I love cooking shows so much, but I know that sometimes they can be intimidating. I love Ina Garten, but when she's like, here's how you make an herbes de Provence crusted quail with rabbit sauce, I'm like, what's up? Yay. Wow, wow. But what she's doing is amazing. I just want to do the same thing in a different way. I think that Dead Dad's Kitchen has always been inside of me. It's sort of found its own way into the world. And I get to share that with you, which is like so huge. I know I say this all the time, and I hope you know that I really mean it. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This is me getting to share my dream with you, and you're making that happen. So I really appreciate that. So yeah, that's what Dead Dad's Kitchen is. That's how it got created. I can't wait to keep making it. But yes, I just wanted to share with you the origin story of my love of food and my love of my family and my love of making this thing that you guys support me in. So let me know if that was useful information. I really love you very much. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you continue to watch some more videos. I hope you carved out a little chunk of time for old Irene. So keep watching. I think we're gonna have a banner year for Dead Dad's Kitchen coming up. I can't wait. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.